Knock knock, Yitzchak here with eXp Realty. Today I'm talking with Schervy. He's gonna tell us a little bit more about the current market and where we're at and why it's still a good time to buy.
Thanks for having me here, Zach. Pleasure being here. Thanks for the opportunity to be able to actually put out some information to help sellers and buyers in the real estate market we're in today.
Yes.
We're sitting in October 2022.
Yes. I guess tell us a little bit more about you and the company you're with.
Sure, thanks, Zach. So I'm Schervy Ortiz. I'm a loan officer, bilingual loan officer for Thrive Mortgage. I've been in the business a little bit over 16 years. So I've seen it before, current, and after what the market and economy actually does and has been doing. I actually major in economics, and I've got a second degree on international business. So what we're currently going through right now sounds weird, but it kind of excites me. It's just kind of pretty cool to see everything.
It is an interesting change in the market from what we were having over the last couple of years. So why is it still a good time to buy a home right now?
We're in a really good time. This is a time where actually buyers and sellers are actually working together. Can we say it's a buyer's market? Perhaps. There's more inventory out there in the housing. Here in the state of Texas, you've got Braunfels, Austin, San Antonio, Houston's still doing great, Corpus. There's still a lot of great cities here within the state of Texas that we are actually in a good, our own economy surrounded in a very conservative way that sellers and buyers are actually working together to be able to put the two and meet. So there is more opportunity for the buyer to take advantage of. There's a lot of more housing inventory, whether there's a resale, whether there's a new build. Builders are giving incentives. Lenders like myself are coming up with creative programs to help clients. There's still down payment assistance programs as well. And so there's just a lot of opportunity, a lot of low-hanging fruit that a lot of buyers can take advantage of. Hence, it helps the seller to be able to sell their house as well. So we're in exciting times. I know, we're Q4 going into Q4 here, 2022. So I think everybody just wants to make sure that, number one, have shelter, a good place to live in. But at the same time, whether it's a seller or a builder, they're looking forward to sell their home too.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about 2-1 Buydown?
Yeah. Great program. What comes down, must go up, and what goes up sometimes comes down, right? And so right now we're facing one of the historical fastest interest rate increase that we've seen in a long time, probably since back in the 80s. So we know based on our numbers, whether it's a CPI, which is Consumer Product Index, where we can look at the gross domestic product, we can look at all the indexes that basically showing that people are still buying, whether it's food or gas or houses, cars, all these things are still being bought and consumed. There's still a push as to what that rate is going to be. Inflation is still there. Right now, as of today, we're sitting at an 8.2% inflation rate, which is still one of the highest historical inflation rates of an increase in a rapid pace. So because inflation has risen, then of course interest rate has risen. It has to do a lot with the bond market as well and what these investors are willing to buy. That being said, a 2-1 buy down interest rate program helps. And what that looks like is, let's just say today's rate being at 7%, the first year you get the opportunity to have payments of 2 points lower than the 7%. So to be at a 5% interest rate that your first payment will be due on as far as payment wise. A significant amount of savings per month. It could be $500 per month, right? Mm-hmm. Second year going into it, it goes up 1. So that means that second year you're going to be at 6%. So payments will adjust to that 6% interest rate, and then third year we'll go back to the 7th. However, I don't have the magic crystal ball, but I'm assuming that and expecting based on the numbers that rates should come down by then. I know there's articles already Fannie Mae that 2023 is looking pretty optimistic, maybe be in the 5s, mid 4s, and so if the signs are there, 2-1 buy down is a great opportunity to take advantage of the savings right now.
Okay, that's great. So that's a great incentive for buyers. What are some incentives that sellers can do to help a listing that isn't moving? Maybe offering some concessions or something to
Sure.
buy the interest rate down for the buyer?
Yes, sellers, please listen to your listing agents. I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. They know the CMAs, they know the comparables. I can tell you that a house listed today is not going to be sold for the same price of a home that was listed 6 months ago, even if it's the same square footage of the house, even if it's the identical house. It's just not the same. We're not in that same market that we were 6 months ago, even 3 months ago. So please listen to agents because they're on the beat in terms of what the pulse is for the market today. That's my first advice. I'm not a real estate agent, but I have seen it. The other is that, let's all work together.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. I mean, let's all work together. Someone wants to sell a house, someone wants to buy a house, right? And so what can we do, all of us, whether it be the seller, the buyer, the agent, the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the lender, what can we all do to work together to make sure that this transaction meets of what everybody's looking for? So yes, it might take a buyer that will love to do the 2-1 buy down lock interest rate. It may cost some money to do so. And so how do we make that win-win opportunity where the seller is actually maybe increasing the sales price to meet that opportunity there for the buyer to be able to get that covered, and the seller still wins, right?
Yeah.
And so the seller wins, the buyer wins, and I think that's one of the greatest opportunities where all can work together to make everything work.
Definitely. Coming into this, housing affordability is a big question. Are there programs out there to get, some down payment assistance in order to help a buyer get into a home?
There still are. Here in the state of Texas, we've got T-Shack, San Antonio. I know they got their own programs, HIP 80s, the 120s. You've got a lot of investors like Chinoa funds. You've got a lot of other small subsidiary companies that are also providing these. Qualification parameters change and the criteria to qualify for them, but it's still available. And some of these programs will cover the down payment of buying a home, whether it be an FHA or conventional loan, and closing costs. Some may just cover down payment, but either way, it's available and it's still actually extremely affordable to be able to buy a home and take advantage of these programs.
Okay, that's great. When it comes to a credit score, somebody might think that they think that they have some debt or something. What's the typical credit score to get approved for a home?
Good question. Although, we can talk about what is the minimum lowest credit score, that a lot of programs are acceptable on the government loans, whether it be VA or an FHA loan. Usually, you have best opportunities and programs such as down payment assistance programs and other like, usually at a 620 credit score.
Okay, 620. And if they have some type of medical debt or something that they might think is holding them back, what about that?
Everybody has some kind of medical history, whatever that is. But I think that the peace of mind is to know is that medical is not counted against the individual to buy a home. Okay. It's not counted against the debt to income ratio. It's not counted against your ability to be able to buy a home. Medical, we know exists. We know it's there. Whether it went to derogatory or not, it's just left dormant. So that shouldn't be a concern to be able to buy a home or not.
Okay. And so the first step before we still start looking at homes, I think it's really great for a buyer to go talk to a lender like you, who can help them get pre-approved, so we know our starting point. What do you think about that?
I don't know who came with the coin phrase, but I remember being a commercial and saying, "What's in your wallet?" The only way that you can find out where you're currently staying right now and know where you're going is to literally find out where you're staying right now. And so we've got the tools, we've got the resources, we've got the software to be able to actually do that for you and do all that fancy math, so to speak, to be able to say, okay, here's where you stay now, and here's what we can do to help you, how much of a home you can buy, and prepare you to be able to make legitimate, good, analyzed risk, so to speak, be able to buy a home.
Yeah, and then that way we can go start looking at homes, and when we find something that you really love, then we can go ahead and put in an offer, and Schervy would be able to help you get the process started So I really appreciate your time today, Schervy.
Thanks for having me.
How can they get in touch with you?
You know, simple. If you need us, if you have questions, if you want to know where you currently stand right now, if you've heard or read about some information that you're not sure about, if that's something that pertains to you, because I can tell you that not all the information is all equal opportunity for everybody, right? Everybody has their own life, their own niche, and their own qualifications. So if you have any questions of any of that, feel free to call me at 210-387-2001. And Zach, how do I get a hold of you?
You can reach out to me on any of my social media or call me at 512-749-6532. And I'll put both of our information in the comments below. So it was great talking to you today, Schervy. Thank you.